Today, I want to talk about something very important, the change that YouTube videos quite desperately need in 2024. You see, with the rise of platforms like TikTok in the recent 2 years, social media has evolved at crazy speeds. Now the thing is, these platforms are all based on trends, and what was hot and maybe worked like 6 months ago doesn't necessarily cut it today. I noticed some patterns that I think people are getting like really sick of, and I wanted to take this opportunity to speak about those. So first up on the list is retention style editing. If you don't know what that expression means, then imagine video editing that feels like it's been like turbocharged to match the attention span of a TikTok scrolling, hyper-caffeinated 13-year-old kid with, I don't know, ADHD. This style is basically all about keeping up with the attention span of a much younger audience. So I don't know if you share my opinion, but I think lately it has become way too much and people start to feel a little bit overwhelmed with this kind of style. So if you make a video, you want to convey a message to someone typically. So your job is to hold attention. Like, I totally get it. It makes perfect sense. But just because something is edited with very fast cuts, it doesn't necessarily mean it holds attention quite well. I think it does the opposite nowadays. So depending on the audience, you might want to consider a slightly mature way of editing. Now on to the next talking point. I think what a lot of people on social media do is look at older videos that get a lot of clicks, and then they try to recycle the same thing like over and over again. However, I personally think what has received a lot of clicks like 2 years ago isn't necessarily relevant today. And covering the same topics repeatedly is a very sure way to annoy everyone on the platform eventually. So instead of recycling, I think people need to start coming up with new stuff. The next one is a bit of an older phenomenon, but I think it's still used quite a lot and it drives me insane. Clickbait titles and thumbnails. Yes, they might lure a couple of viewers in, but then people won't stay for too long if the content doesn't deliver typically. In 2024 on this platform, I think authenticity in how we present our videos is really key in building trust and a loyal audience. So I think if you haven't done it already, like please, let's just throw the clickbait out of the window. Let's stop with that. Seriously. Okay, the next one is a really recent topic that has been gathering like a lot of buzz, and it is about artificial intelligence. Now, don't get me wrong. AI, in my opinion, is a really fantastic tool for brainstorming. But here's also where it gets tricky. You see, you can't rely on AI to do all of the heavy lifting, especially if you're just copy-pasting content. Like, if you do that, I think it's kind of like the digital equivalent of like copying your homework and then stealing stuff from somebody else. If we follow this analogy in school, yes, you might maybe trick one of your teachers or something like that, and it might save you time. But I think the audience on YouTube nowadays is much smarter than you think. They'll eventually catch on with that kind of stuff. And when they find out, it's not just about losing credibility, it's also kind of losing the personal touch. And that's a very horrible thing to do. So as I said, using AI for brainstorming, I think is a fantastic idea, but don't copy your homework, okay? Okay, another thing that I noticed creeping up on a lot of channels is being like simply lazy. Oftentimes people rely way too much on the same type of like camera angles, the same type of background music is getting repeated over and over again. People come to YouTube for fresh stuff, for engaging type of content, and I think they can immediately smell it when creators start to do that and they become like lazy. Here's my quick tip for keeping videos fresh with quite minimal effort. And that is by using Motion Array, who's also the sponsor of today's video. They are a platform for video editors and got a really amazing selection of templates that make adding new visuals to your videos super easy. These templates are available for all editing software like Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. So basically all professional video editing software except for like, I don't know, Windows Movie Maker. But it doesn't end here. They also got stuff like animated text, stock video, which I use all of the time to supplement my shots, but also music, sound effects, and even stock images. Wow. Now, the best thing is the fact that you don't have to pay per single asset, which tends to be quite expensive, but instead you get access to unlimited downloads on the entire platform. Plans start at just $29 per month, which is pretty good considering how much these assets would cost if you would individually buy them. But if you choose to get an entire year, then it gets pretty cheap and it drops down to only $19. It gets even better because I got a special gift for you in form of a $50 voucher. So just follow my link in the description and it will knock off another $50 per year. So you're only paying like 9.5 months, but you'll receive an entire year. So if you're looking to step up your video game and you want to keep your audience coming back for more, definitely check out Motion Array. And once again, thanks to Motion Array and their amazing team for helping me to make another video like this happen. Next, let's talk about long intros. You know, the ones that seem to go on forever before getting to the actual stuff. I think that was kind of like a huge thing in 2017 here on YouTube, but I think people still do that until this day and I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Instead, I think everyone should cut to the chase in 2024. People are on social media for a good time and not necessarily like a long time. And in this like super fast-paced world, I wish more people would get to the point quickly and kind of respect your audience's time. Now on to the next point, and that is adding a personal touch. You see, in a time when text and images can be super easily generated by a computer and you have so many of these like faceless explainer type channels, I think unique personality is really what sets people apart on YouTube. So you gotta use more of that. I think these AI generated and like faceless channels, they start to be like a little bit annoying sometimes. And I think people want to see real people in the end and not listen to like a robot voice. But if you put real people in front of the camera, it has to be authentic. I think it's super tempting to mimic the style of your favorite YouTuber, especially if they have like a particular sense of humor that seems to draw in views. What's up everyone? Peter McKinnon here. Remember, people have a real radar and a sense for what is genuine and what isn't. So for me personally, I've come to understand that I'm not the type of person that is like overly hyped or the one that can crack jokes every other sentence. I'm German after all, and we are like notorious for possessing like 0% humor. So that is why my approach is a lot more laid back, and I think that's fine, because trying to be something that I'm not would only come across as fake. And lastly, trying to please everyone. I think that's really important. It is totally okay to have opinions and stand by them. So let me give you a personal example. When I first started uploading videos, it hit me really hard when not everybody liked them. And seeing some like nasty comments or some like thumb down button almost felt like a personal defeat to me sometimes. But having content that sparks some kind of debate that polarizes like a little bit can actually be a good thing, because it will drive engagement, and believe it or not, it might actually boost a video's visibility here on the platform, because YouTube values content that generates interaction, and whether it is likes, comments, or even debates. So I think people should keep their own opinion, and it's totally fine if that means not everyone will agree with you. And last but not least is a trend that I think a lot of people do, that is ignoring feedback. It's really, really easy to brush off comments, especially when you think you got everything dialed in like just right. But here's a story for you. A while back, I started noticing a few comments popping up saying like, hey, your background music is either too loud or too soft. I took a step back and actually listened. I tweaked the music levels in my next few videos, and guess what? The feedback all of a sudden turned positive. So next time, if you get a piece of advice or feedback, don't just brush it aside and ignore it. You gotta consider it, and I think a lot of YouTubers should do the same. Now, if you made it all the way to the end, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel, because why not? Either way, thanks for sticking around. And if you got anything else that annoys you on YouTube, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. And that is it for today. I will catch you guys one of the next videos.